Colonialism in its traditional form and shape may be gone, but its legacy continues to linger. Belgium, a small European country with a painful and peculiar imperial past, is naturally part of that very debate, in particular when it comes to what happened in what is now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Rwanda and Burundi. This week's conference, entitled Belgian Colonialism, Acknowledgement and Responsibility, held in Baku, is bringing together a number of intellectuals and activists from all over the world. And today, I'll be conversing with two participants of that very conference. Andrea Kalubi, human rights activist, campaigner, entrepreneur, ambassador of African diaspora at the European Parliament, if I may be so bold, a lady of distinction and undeniable beauty. Welcome to A News.
Thank you for receiving me.
Thank you, it's a great pleasure. Earlier with your colleague Abbas Ismail, I discussed the legacy of the Belgian Empire when it comes to Central Africa. In what ways is the legacy of Belgium different to other European colonial powers, former colonial powers? And why was it so vicious in terms of its brutality?
Actually, first, the colonization of Belgium wasn't the first time of colonization. It was just a personally building and land for Leopold II.
Yeah, before 1906.
Before 1906. But But actually, after that, he decided that the Congo have to become a colonization of Belgium because of other country in Europe. If it wasn't the case, if the missionary didn't send the report about what's happened in Congo, has labor force, the hands cut, everything happened there, I think Leopold II never gave Congo his freedom.
See, but when we say freedom, we mean that actually there was a transfer of administration from the private royal enterprise to a state, Belgium. Back to the original question, why was it so brutal? What does explain this sheer scale of inhumanity, lack of humanity?
Actually, I think for me, the only reason is Leopold II. He just wants to make more money, and more money, and for that he has to be a cruel, a brutal person with his administration there in Congo. And they killed a lot of, 10 million of people was killed in Congo. It's the most murder things happen in the world, I think. And people doesn't talk about the people, how much people died there and why they died, just because they didn't bring something to have more money for Leopold II.
And today, in 2025, 65 years after the official end of Belgian Empire in Africa, what should be done to address some of the injustices that happened back then? What is the most practicable thing to do now?
For me, it's not just enough to say we regret about what happened in DRC. It's not enough. Actually, the Belgian government with Charles Michel or the King Philippe said that there are regrets what happened in Congo, but it's not enough. There is no existence of the law of reparation, but in the human right there exists a right to repair people who suffer of violence, labor force, murder. So we have to use this law to repair what they cause, because they are victims, and families are victims. A country is a victim, and people there suffer till now on what happened in colonialization in DRC. I think there is not just financially consequences, there is a traumatized. People are very traumatized about what's happened. It seems like it's like in our DNA. Because for our country in Congo or Africa, woman give life, and when she give life, she give traumatized, she give psychological issues, she give everything. So when we transfer milk, as we can say, when we transfer milk, we transfer every trauma since for colonization.
So that's what we say when we say, that's what we actually mean when we say that implications are continuing to linger there and they're still with us. And the question is, what should be done now? What are the most practical modes of action? You're an entrepreneur. I'm sure you strongly believe that there must be strong, functional bilateral relations between Democratic Republic of the Congo and the current government of Belgium. How do you envisage that bilateral interaction, in particular bearing in mind your entrepreneurial background?
Your question is very important. As an entrepreneur, for me, it's very important to take advantage from what's happened. Do you know there is an agreement of Cotonou? Cotonou is like a great agreement that European Union did in 2000 with ACP, the state of ACP, African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries. This agreement is to talk about what ACP and European Union have to talk about politics, economic, and this is kind of agreement all regular everything, but they don't take what happened in Congo. With like in Congo, in Rwanda, in Burundi, all the pays has colonization. But for me, as an entrepreneur, this kind of agreement is extended. The name is post-Cotonou. We have to use that post-Cotonou as an entrepreneur to take advantage, financially advantage, or agreement advantage to make a better bridge between Europe and Africa. It's like not just more advantageous for Europe, but also in Africa. We need to deal now, not just to have help from Europe, but we need to have a strong partnership between countries and states, not just as an ex-victim of something, but we need to review every agreement has made before for a new cooperation between countries. And it will be good for entrepreneurs as me who work in Africa and Europe. It's very important.
It's a different mindset, really. It seems that it's not merely about demanding something for what happened in the past, but actually having a new type of interaction, cooperation, based on equality
yes.
and mutual respect.
Exactly. For me, from now, every cooperation, it was like, we are here to help you. As a little African, a little victim, a little person, but we are not a little. We are great, we are strong, we are tall, just as me. And we need to change first mindset and second agreement. Now there is so many agreements with China, with Russia, with the United States, with every country. But for me, my point of view is like it's not a great negotiation for us.
Yeah, it's not to achieve equality that you're talking about. We are not actually revisiting history in a sense of recreating history. We're actually revisiting past agreements which were concluded when equality wasn't there.
Yes.
And that seems to be...
For me, it's just the justice. It's about justice.
Yes.
It's economic justice. We need economic justice because we didn't ask European people to come at our home and destroy everything about culture, about how we didn't ask people.
But this conversation takes us to that deep issue regarding this Europe-Africa or Europe-Asia confrontation, when some European historians say that we were there because we needed to control those resources because local population was not in a position to control. It was for us terra incognita. It's a very interesting conversation. I'm so glad that we had this opportunity, and thank you very much for articulating your thoughts in such a cogent manner. So great.
Thank you so much.
Abbas Ismail, integrated researcher at the Center of International Studies based in Lisbon, and also advisor on governance, transitional justice, and mediation. Welcome to A-News.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. You're a man of very interesting background, born and bred in Germany, of Lebanese heritage, currently based in Lisbon and Brussels, and today you're in Baku to attend this conference dedicated to the problems emanating from Belgian colonialism. Could you tell us more about the reasons bringing you here?
First, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak here on that such important topic. What brings me to Azerbaijan, to Baku, is Azerbaijan is positioning itself as a convener of global debates on justice and memory. And by hosting this event here in Baku, it shows that colonial responsibility is not just a European matter, but it's a global matter. And Azerbaijan is giving us a space for the dialogue. From this conference in Baku, we are expecting an honest and real debate on recognition, responsibility, and reparations, moving beyond only symbolic gestures, more like toward concrete commitments for justice and repair.
Thank you very much indeed. And your expertise is wide-ranging. You focus on a number of issues, but also amongst those issues we have this Belgian colonialism, in particular the issue of reparations and so forth. What is particularly vicious and malicious about Belgian colonialism? Why is it so different to other forms of colonialism?
Yeah, well, it's a deep question. Belgian colonial rule in Rwanda, Burundi, and Congo, it left a deep scars, which can still be noted today, with forced labor, racial segregation. They established identity categories. So they established identity categories into ethnic groups. So this was not a neutral policies. So they created structures of inequality and division that still shape the societies today in Central Africa. For example, in Rwanda is an example I can give you that they transformed fluid social identities into fixed ethnic categories. For example, before we had, like when we were talking about the Hutu, Tutsi, and Twa, so they put Tutsi as superior and Hutus are as inferior. But that was wrong because this was social economic categories. So every Hutu could actually become a Tutsi if he get rich, if he have enough cattle, and through negotiations. But when Belgium imposed identity cards in 1934, they fixed it. So it means like this process of becoming a Tutsi or other way around, it was not happening anymore. Basically they froze it. And so one painfully example is that same identity cards which Belgium imposed on the population back then in 1934, 60 years later, it was when the genocide started. So militias would stop people on the checkpoints, and then they would look at their cards, at the identity cards, and then based on that, they will just decide who can live, who can die. So they're just okay on the spot. So we can see like how deep colonization roots run until today, actually also. And yeah, so a system like that of inequality and mistrust into governance, it's not healthful for society to, yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. That's very fascinating in a sense that what happened back then is still with us, and the implications of that continues to linger, so to speak. And what is the best way now in 2025, well, effectively 65 years after the end of the Belgian Empire in Africa, official end was in 1960, of course. What is the best way to tackle this issue? How justice should be served? And what is the place of reparation in this story?
Yeah. So international law, thank God we have international law, and this was also a part when a lot of countries in Africa start getting independence, it's because the United Nations created and international law, human rights were imposed, so people start, so there was a lot of domestic and international pressure on countries to diffuse their colonies. So international law, it recognized the right of reparation for victims, especially of colonialism. But the problem is the challenge is implementation. So the mechanisms do matter. One example was the Brussels Court of Appeal last year in 2024. It showed actually how domestic law can recognize colonialism crimes as potential crimes against humanity. So it can went so far. And on an international level, I would say the UN bodies, United Nations bodies, they gave Belgium a roadmap, truths, commissions, and apologies and reparations. But the challenge until today is the political will. So Belgium, they did a commission last year of inquiry, and it got stuck. And at the end, what we heard was only from King Philip was a regret, not apology. Regret is not an apology. Regret is a careful choosing language to avoid responsibility. Because if you do apologize, then it has legal consequences. So
regret is different to apology in the sense that apology is actually amounts to the admission of the guilt.
Exactly, yeah. So apology carries legal consequences. So politicians in Belgium, they are afraid, because if it would apologize, it will open the door for reparations. So that's why meaningful recognition is important. And first, if you can put it like in 3 points. First, apology. It's a clear acknowledgement of colonial responsibility. Reparation, not only in financial matters, but also reparative justice, education, reforms, memorializations, support for victims and descendants. 3 is the structural change. By tackling the system of racism in Belgium today, until today we still have Afro descendants who live in Belgium still face huge racism, in unemployment, in education, in living, in housing. So if we tackle all this together, it's not my words, it's the words actually from the UN report, which they actually told Belgium, they gave them recommendations. And those was one of the recommendations, and the heart of the recommendations are these 3 things: apology, reparation, and structural change.
Thank you very much indeed for this very interesting discussion about something which is incredibly painful, but still something that we should discuss in detail. Thank you very much indeed, Ambassador. So grateful.
Thank you.